So I wanted to very quickly make a video addressing the problem of evil and how one deals with evil. You see, because there's the Christian motif that you should never tolerate evil, always stand up to it, but don't fight it, don't be violent against it. I think there's a time to fight and there's a time not to fight. I do. I do. You've got to really assess, though, whether the time is whether it's worthy to fight, whether it's a good reason to fight, or whether you're not just being petty and stupid and um, immature about it. You've got to really ask yourself whether it's a fight you want to have. Is it a fight worth having? Really ask yourself that. Um, and open and clear communication is always the best because that's the truth. Now, what do you do about evil, though, when you encounter it? First off, if no one did anything when Hitler was invading the world, if no one did anything when Hitler was rounding up the Jews and conquering the entire European peninsula and enslaving millions, killing millions, and believe me, there's these like Holocaust deniers online, which I guess it can be a meme at times, but barring the meme, man, we've got to really assess the fact that no, what Hitler wanted to do was real. You can dress it up however you want. I don't even know why I have to explain this to people, but there is a set group of people on the internet who do believe this stuff. They believe that Hitler was, wronged, and that the superpowers had an agenda, which every superpower has agendas. Everything has an agenda. There is nothing that exists that's completely impartial. What you have to understand is Hitler was a master propagandist. He was a master. He was the founder. Him and Goebbels and the Nazi Party were masters of propaganda. They knew exactly what they were doing with their propaganda. And a lot of these Nazi sympathizers, they use Hitler's speeches and his writings as evidence for their truth. Oh, he was a good person. Oh, he meant well. Jesus Christ. Hitler was evil. Hitler was pure evil. Pure evil, okay? Because he was so evil that he rationalized whatever he did. He rationalized murder, killing. He rationalized taking prisoners. He rationalized eugenics. He rationalized not just eugenics. He rationalized tearing families apart, butchering millions. I mean, killing and butchering is one thing, but then invading people's lands when you have no entitlement to them, under the National Socialist ideology, which is enough to rouse the people to war. Evil is what he was. Evil. And a warmonger. Now you might say, well, what's the difference between Hitler and the people in power in the West? Not a lot. Not a lot. Our guys are pretty warmongery as well. But you've got to ask and assess yourself the lesser of the two evils. Would I want Hitler, or would I want the guys that we have right now? I'm going to say the guys that we've got right now. Truthfully. And the reason why is because Hitler's system simply just wouldn't work in the long run. It just wouldn't work. It would require you to kill so many people before it starts to actually function and settle. His empire was going to run on perpetual warfare. Our empire doesn't really run on perpetual warfare. I mean, we have a proxy war here and there. We have an enemy, like Russia, the Cold War, and they go to war for resources occasionally, right? They manufacture some reason to go to war to gain resources. That's corporate interest, of course. It's getting a bit worse these days because now the corporations just simply don't care about the peasants at the bottom, which is 99% of the population. So now it's just gotten to the point where the people are realizing that, they don't care about us. And the people that we voted to represent us, they don't care about us either. So now we're really screwed. We're just in this place now where like, oh, we're really like, no one cares about us. What are we gonna do? So like, that's pretty bad. And you might say, well, at least Hitler would have cared about us. It's like, yeah, if you were a very, very subsect of the personality that he desired. If you're genetically Germanic, Aryan, German, I think that was really it. To be honest, I mean, if you're a white guy, I think for you, you might say, well, Hitler wasn't too bad. You might have a point there. I mean, Germany for the Germans, right? Only the Germans. Maybe that's the only good thing that he was aiming for. And the only reason I say that is because, well, when you allow multiculturalism, and I believe this, when you allow multiculturalism to exist in your country, you destroy your culture. China doesn't allow that. China doesn't allow multiculturalism. In China, the dominant culture has always been Han Chinese, and it always will be Han Chinese. And the moment another culture starts to even begin to gain a trackhold in any area of their society, it can even be geographical. By the way, China's multi-ethnic as hell. But the problem is, or the difference is the main culture is and always will be Han Chinese. It will dominate the economy, it will dominate the culture, it will dominate the language, it will dominate the history, and it has dominated all of these things anyway. They don't allow immigration, which means that their population will not be dwindled. Or immigration is hard to go to China. It's hard to be there unless you're a foreigner who has something to offer them, like a foreign monkey, like what I was when I was there, a dancing monkey. You're like just a foreigner. They point and laugh at you and they pay you, which you lose your dignity, but you get paid for it. Horrendous stuff. I wouldn't do that again. That was terrible. Terrible. It destroyed my integrity. Can't do that again. But Japan, same thing, right? Like their culture will always be monogamous. Is that the word? Monogamous? No, that's not the right word. It will always be monoculturalism. But I mean, look, even monogamy, right? Like monogamy, these cultures who tend to be strong-footed with foundations, they don't have, like, their society is rock solid at the core. It's built on foundations, right? It's like building a house. A house lasts when it has foundations that are strong. If your society is weak and there's nothing that tethers it together, like a religion, like tradition, like values and principles, it'll crumble. It'll be gone. Today, your religion is money. Your values are diversity and tolerance, which simply means to allow when evil things and bad things happen, to allow them to happen. Your principles are peace under all conditions. So even when things are bad, you still need to be peaceful. No family. The patriarchy, so now men can't have a voice. Men aren't allowed to speak their truth. Men also aren't allowed to be men, which are protectors and providers. So there's that. And yeah, like, your culture will completely fall away. I started the video talking about evil. Kind of gone off a bit off topic now, but it's like, well, what do you do if you see this happening to your culture or your country? Make yourself strong. Don't make yourself weak. Make yourself strong financially, spiritually, emotionally. Make yourself in a position where you can do things. Increase your capacity. Build a network. Build a community. Be good. Be kind. Be capable. Plan ahead into the future. Have a look where the world's going to be in 10 years' time. Where do you want to be when the shit hits the fan? Because it will. It will. It will get worse. It will get worse. So you've got to ask yourself, where do I want to be in 10 years' time? I've decided where I want to be. I don't even know if it's a very healthy choice as to where I've decided where I'm going to be, but I've decided I'm going to go there, and we're just going to find out what happens in the rest now. I still think it's the best place to go, but I might be making a very grave wrong decision, grave mistake, but hey, we'll find out when we get there. You've got to have a plan nonetheless, right? You can't just be floating around like I've been for the last few years. Just floating because I didn't know what direction to go down, because I could see how the world was going, but I was like, what do I do? The best way to really fight against evil, man, is to know what evil is stay the hell away from it. All right, bite the poison enough so you can understand it. Be as wise as a serpent, but as harmless as a dove, right? And like, that means have knowledge of evil so you can be wise when you encounter it. But don't be someone who is obsessed with now being evil, like being dark triad, because that's satanic territory. Don't ask me how to explain it. It really is hard to explain this, because one part of me says, no, you must be capable of dark triad stuff, psychopathy, narcissism, Machiavellianism. You should be capable of these things. You should be ambitious. You should definitely be willing to do what is required for you to achieve your goals. So that's your ruthless ambition. I do believe, though, you shouldn't take away all your principles to get there, because if you do that, you're just not going to be a very good person by the end of it. You'll be someone who you look at yourself with shame if you're a normal person. If you're a psychopath, you'll be fine. But if you're a normal person like me and you, then you'll really suffer from choosing the path of evil, which is, I don't care how I get what I want. So, having that drive and that ruthless ambition is great. I think every man has that. That's your testosterone, right? That's your gonads. Every man has that when you accept it and you say, all right, I want what I want, and I'm going to get it. I want to get it, right? I'm going to fight for what I want. Cool. That's step number one. But I think, and educating yourself on how evil works so that you can be ready to encounter it when you do encounter it, because you will encounter it, right? Like, otherwise you'll just be paralyzed by fear and anxiety your whole life. So you've got to be willing to say to yourself, right, I'm going to go and encounter and face the damn evil out there in the world, and I'm not going to cower. May it bring whatever it needs to bring me on. Didn't say that right. May it bring whatever it needs to kind of like do what it needs to do, but I'm going to face it. I'm going to face it. I'm going to see what happens. And I don't care what happens. Well, I do care, but I'm going to see what happens. And that's the mentality you need to have when you go out there in the world. Because there will be damn well evil, but you can't just be a coward and stay in the home or choose the easy option, because if you do that, you violated the principle. Jordan Peterson's words. You violated the principle of your own strength, and you violated God's promise. You as a man need to be capable of facing evil. That doesn't mean you need to be throwing yourself into the deep end and go to prison. No. But what it does mean is you need to be damn well proficient in facing the damn thing that's in front of you, the snake. Face it. Don't cower away from it. I think this will make you very strong, because it's like, if you go to the gym, you've got to pick up this weight that's effectively killing you. It's killing your muscles. It's breaking and then destroying your muscles, mate. Boxing, martial arts, how do you get better? By repeatedly doing the damn technique over and over and over again. And the sparring, you've got to spar. You spar multiple rounds. Spar till you're tired. Spar till you're fatigued. Keep sparring even when you're fatigued. Do extra rounds. Keep going. Run, same deal, right? Like, you just have to keep essentially killing yourself until you can't be killed anymore. That's how you get stronger. Like, you don't get stronger by being weak, by being comfortable, by sitting at home, by relaxing. But, that's not how you get stronger. Like, man, you want to be strong. You want to be responsible. You want to be capable, right? You don't get stronger by avoiding the thing you need to face. You get stronger by facing it. What are you scared of? What are you afraid of? You get your answers to those, man. You've got to run in the direction of it now. Because otherwise you'll be a 8-year-old man with all the regrets in the world. Because I chose the easy path. I chose the comfortable path. The path where there was no challenge. The path where I didn't need to wrestle with anything. Nah, you got to wrestle with it, man. Otherwise, you'll be wrestling with your conscience. You're going to wrestle either way, right? You're going to wrestle either with the world, or you're going to wrestle with your conscience. I'd rather wrestle with the world. I'd rather keep my conscience a pure place of reflection and a place for me to give gratitude to God. I don't want to be wrestling with my own conscience day and night. Okay. So yeah, have the truth as your ally as opposed to evil and hatred. That being said, hate evil. Hate evil. It'll give you power and strength when you face it. Because whatever your adventure is that's calling you, you best believe, man, you need to have your weapons. All right. I'll see you in a bit.